Yes, we're back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Tomato Podcast. I am your host, Farhan, and today I have with me my amazing, brilliant, fantastic, very knowledgeable, I'm trying to think of some other adjective to describe. My amazing co-host. No, I'm introducing you guys one by one.
Oh, okay.
Let's be honest. You're like my main co-host.
No,
Sorry,
I'm
Nahia.
not. I'm really not.
Why are you trying to be like all like nice and
Yeah,
humble
I've
now?
always said this every week. I'm not your only co-host.
We got Farage and Nahia in the building.
Yes.
He's back. He's back.
And he's better.
Aye.
Yes.
And he's bigger. He's looking
Oi,
hella
listen.
wedge, guys.
This is the second time we're all here together, but I feel like the dynamics are so much different, so much more. How can I say? I feel more cozier with you guys here. Do you know what I mean?
Bloody
Do you guys?
hot.
It's
Bloody hot, man.
Shall we? Or?
Yeah,
a
please,
little bit.
guys.
Alright, cool. It is actually. I just feel like I feel like I'm more part of a family now.
Oh.
Yeah, my extended brothers.
Oh.
This is it, bruv. This is the team. This is the squad.
It is the squad. You're absolutely right.
Have we told everyone about this? We haven't, have we?
This dynamics.
This dynamics. So basically, I've lost my words. Do you want to?
My brothers are getting nervous.
Do you
Guys,
wanna
what's the
announce
matter?
the special news update for the future, which will happen very soon?
What is it?
New co-host alert.
Who?
Now he's coming back.
Oh no, but he's always been here.
No, he hasn't.
No,
Let's be
yes,
honest.
he has. He's just been.
Now he got relegated to the championship.
He's just
but
been working on his music.
Yeah, bro. His music's been put on pause, fam.
Oh,
How's your
wow.
music going?
Very bad.
Why?
I don't know. I think it's all down to me, man. To be
Wait,
honest.
whoa. Let's introduce you first.
Everyone knows me already.
I mean, my new friends don't know you.
Oh,
like
alright.
that.
Yeah, true. Because it's changed.
We have got a brand new host of audience listeners.
Because when I was here last, when was it?
Like 4 months ago. How long have we been doing podcasts for now?
I'd say about 2 months.
2 months.
I think it's more. Wait.
It does feel
When
like
did I
that.
jump on? 20.
I don't know, but
It was when I dropped that work. Well, the other work.
Yeah,
when was that? That was
the printing
beginning of. The what? Yeah, she knows. Beginning of March.
okay.
So when? How long?
So-
It's 3 months. Has it?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm loyal.
You know what 3 months is?
What?
It's a quarter of a year.
Okay.
Mad, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah, I mean.
I like to think it's a long time when you say it like that.
12 months.
Wow. So now he has been promoted back
I
to
just
the
want
podcast.
to say that it was counting, like.
Wait, wait. Oh my God, you're actually counting. That's fine. I counted in my head before I said it.
I was like, what?
Is it though? Wait, hold on. I'm just trying to.
Yeah, it's 3, 6, 9, 12.
2, 3. Alright, cool. It is, yeah. Sorry.
I'm dead.
So-
Oh, we
I've got
missed
very-
you, man.
I've got very bad maths.
So
Same.
automatically, I can just feel like the vibes. It's nice. In the
Yeah.
future, we're gonna have. Basically, this is it. This is the team. This is the Tomato
The squad.
Podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is it, man.
100%.
We're gonna get a third mic, and then now he's gonna be here on a permanent basis. We
Yeah,
just
it
need
makes
to.
sense.
We need to sign a few
Disclosures.
contracts. A few dotted lines need to be signed. A few T's need to be crossed. How did they say it? A few I's need to be dotted and a few T's need to be crossed. Is that how they say it?
I've never heard of it.
I actually don't know what you're talking about.
Isn't that what they say?
Never heard of it.
All right. Okay.
You've
Maybe
been
I'm
watching
just.
a lot of movies.
Yeah,
Good.
I do.
And documentaries. It's fine.
I love documentaries.
I know you do.
Okay, so this is episode 39. My
Yes.
God, do you know what that means? We're 11 episodes away from quarter of a cent. Who's nervous? Because I do feel a little
I
bit
feel
nervous.
a bit nervous today, you know.
Are
I'm not-
you?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest.
Nah,
I
you're
feel
nervous
quite-
every episode, bro.
No, this episode is different. Like
Right.
I feel kind of nervous. Maybe it's because I was staying at my sister's house.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like
You
I'm
feel
gonna
a bit on edge. Like
I'm
you're
just
sitting
kidding.
on the edge of the seat.
Yeah, like I think it's because I'm wearing jeans today as well. I don't really like wearing jeans. I'm
Yeah.
not even wearing my top. I'm wearing my niece's top. Like,
Hey.
my allergies are on fire.
You're getting in.
I'm looking like a surfer. You know?
Nah,
You
you're
know
getting
them
in. You're
ones,
getting
like,
in.
What is going on? And it's just like Yeah, this is me.
Hey,
I'm just out here.
living your best life, man. That's what it's all about.
You're right.
You know,
You're right. You're right.
you just gotta
you're right.
enjoy it. Enjoy the moment. Enjoy every moment. Have you ever read the book, The Power of Now?
No.
You should read it.
I haven't read it, but I've heard of it.
Sick,
okay.
right? So
What is it about?
The Power of Now is basically a book about the power of now. In essence, it talks about being present in the now, being conscious, and always just understanding what you're doing at the present moment, because most of us get lost in either thinking about the past or looking forward to the future. I'd say the majority of human beings, their life goal is always looking ahead, right? Is always looking forward, making plans, but no one ever focuses or stops to think about what's happening right now.
I mean,
I think that's really, really
you're
important.
absolutely right.
The power of now really does. It has a massive impact on what happens in the future, but also what's going to make whatever you're planning for the future actually happen.
Yeah, I know what you mean, but it's like, for like me myself right now, I know that I always look at the future because
Yeah.
I'm like, because I don't really have the resources that I want to have now. That's what makes me look into the future more. Maybe I need to read this book.
It's good. No, I read half of it and then I stopped reading it because the guy started talking about God, and that really annoyed me. So I was like, nah, long.
Why did it annoy you?
Well, he started talking rubbish about, I think he started like slyly, not preaching, but kind of undermining the concept of God. And that annoyed me a little bit because you're supposed to be biased when it comes to these kind of things. If you're making an informative book about,
okay,
rational
about
things.
the future.
Well,
and
actually, that made no
present
sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
All
So
right, makes sense.
that's the power of now. Hello, hi. That's the power of now. And we are now live on episode 39. I must say, do you know what? I'm a little bit nervous today as well.
Why?
Because we've been getting a lot of love lately.
Yeah.
The last week
so.
we had a lot of people a lot of like listeners who were shouting our podcast out, promoting it on their stories and
100%.
stuff, and that really it's a nice humbling feeling when you see stuff like that, because I remember when me and Nahia started it, I don't think we even had any listeners, maybe one or two, and which was ourselves. So literally we were just sitting in the car making these podcasts just for the sake of making them, but now to see people actually taking an interest, it's like, wow, it's made me feel a little bit self-conscious about
what you say,
what I
you
say,
do,
and
whatever. Yeah, definitely.
who I'm talking to, because I know who I'm talking to now. I love you guys.
I mean, I love you guys too, and I love my friends and my family. And supporting me. And all the generic, statements that I need to make. But
Thanks,
you could
Mum.
do better in supporting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, who? Me?
No, my friends.
Oh yeah, no. I mean,
yeah, they could be promoting our stuff more.
raw fam, you trying to get onto them like that?
Oh, do you know what?
That's a bit mad,
I'm not gonna lie to you. I'll be honest with you. This week I've been a bit not savage necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been
Trying to
straight
get
to
onto
the
them.
point. No, straight to the point with a lot of situations and circumstances.
You're a master promoter,
Really?
I'll be honest with you. You're very, very good at this kind of stuff. You need to jump on Nahia's sort of promoting music stuff.
I agree. I think you should. I need someone to help me out.
I mean, do you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't mind, but I need to start getting paid
Yeah, trust me.
for my consultancy work. I don't mind supporting my friends.
We do need to start getting paid.
But I need to start getting. I want to go
Sponsorships
into consultancy.
Are open.
Did you know that?
should,
Yeah, I think I'm quite good at it. But Ramadan's really forced me to
Really? So you're thinking of a career change?
Yeah.
That's
I'm
crazy.
looking to leave the charity sector.
Mad.
Oh my god, I can't believe I just declared that on
that the
national TV.
That was a very bold move.
Why?
I don't think you should have done that.
I think that's a very good move.
No.
Saying it in public. Oh yeah. Do any of your employees listen to this?
I'm joking, guys. Yeah, I mean, I could. Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, go on.
I'll be honest with you. It's not that I'm leaving the charity sector necessarily. It's just I want to change my role within the charity sector.
All right, cool.
So I'd like to do consultancy work for charities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you'd do a banging
Where
job
I
with
used
that.
to work last summer, if they're listening to this very shitty agency,
I can't believe you just did that.
I don't
It's
care. Nicholas.
I think you can mention the name.
I don't want to.
No. We don't do them
I
things.
don't
I
wanna
will
shadow-
do them things, you know.
I don't want to shadow their business in it. But anyway, anywho, in the building, it's like there are different offices.
Yeah.
This one guy, he had his own office, which is based on consultancy, and he was making so much money.
Yeah, I feel like
So much.
my skills are starting to reflect that.
I
That is
agree.
what I'm good at.
Wherever you go, just take me with you. Don't forget me,
Why?
because
Do you feel I'm gonna make it?
yeah, you will make it.
Guys,
You'll make it, man, I'm telling you.
my ego's being fed right now. Just love it. Just love it.
All right.
Okay, let's get straight into it.
I was gonna say something. I completely forgot. You know them ones where you just want to say something.
It's
How was
fine.
your week?
I remember. Nahia, how does it feel to be back?
Oh.
Oh yeah.
It feels good. It feels different. It goes back to the first day when I actually did the podcast with you.
Absolutely. I feel really happy to have you back. If I'm being honest, I mean, usually I'll be honest. Like I
talks
slag you off behind your back. Like I do talk a lot of smack, but I'll be honest with you.
He's bare gas today.
I do really enjoy like your presence, and it helps that I've got like a co-host who actually gets involved. So now you can actually sit down and say whatever you want. Really, you don't have that pressure anymore. How does that feel?
But did he really have pressure before?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was trying to say. I mean that.
Yeah, low key. I mean, I'm that type of person where I can't really be direct with someone like that. Do you know what I mean?
Why
Like,
not?
I just don't know. I just don't have that.
What?
I just don't have it in me to be like fix up. What you doing? You need to be more involved.
Yeah, but that's just me, innit? That's just how I am.
I
With,
told
with,
you.
with everything.
Yeah, that's calm. I like this dynamic that we've got going
Yeah,
on here.
I'm feeling a lot of like bromance, like love hearts, energy,
No,
aura.
me and Nahi will
like,
go way back, man.
Yeah.
We go way back. Way back.
Like primary school days, bro. Like picking up sticks from the floor and playing Harry Potter.
Really?
No, it was actually Lord of the Rings.
Most of the times it'd be Lord of the Rings. because
I was Aragorn.
I was the little
Gandalf.
gremlin guy.
Oh, the Hobbit.
I've never watched it before.
Yeah, it's actually quite lit. It is quite good.
What?
I don't like stuff like that. I'm sorry.
It's not about not liking stuff like that. It's Lord of the Rings, man. Come on.
Yeah, but I mean, I've seen it on the TV like here and there, but it's like,
Game of Thrones.
no, I don't watch them things.
It will change your life.
No.
It would.
Listen,
No,
I
100%.
don't like fantasy.
Listen,
I don't like fantasy.
look, it's not
and,
fantasy.
Like,
Watch Game of Thrones.
Avengers and stuff like that.
Forget Avengers. Look,
Well,
if you watch Game of Thrones, like the
It
first
will change
season,
your life. It will
you have
change
to
your life.
force yourself to watch the first season because the first season is actually boring. All right.
No, it's not. I like it.
For me, it was boring. But after you're done with the first season, you're gonna go crazy.
nah, man.
You're gonna actually go
I
crazy.
don't have time to be watching something so it could get better the next season. How many episodes are there?
10? Is it
Exactly.
8?
Do you think I got
Each episode
10
is like
hours to watch?
each episode is like
I'm never gonna
40,
get
50 minutes.
Yeah, so that's like 10 hours. Okay, like 9 hours. I'm never gonna get that time back.
You know when Game of Thrones actually ended last week, yeah,
Yeah, I know.
people were starting riots. Like they were actually starting riots.
Where
But
were these
apparently
riots?
they were disappointed about season 8,
Yeah, I know.
and
I
they
know.
should have just left at season 7.
No,
But
it's
that
not.
couldn't have happened.
The it was very bad because I feel like crying.
Really? It was really bad.
No, they're right. You know what? It's two things. Yeah, the writing was very bad.
Okay.
The writing was very bad. The battle scenes were wonderful. The CGI was sick. It's just the
Storyline.
no, like even the storyline was very good, but the writing was awful, and that's only because of the showrunners, and it's two people who actually run the show. HBO said let's do 2 seasons. Let's do season 8 and season 9. So let's end it with season 9. But these guys said no, let's just end it with season 8 with 6
So-
episodes,
Okay.
and they've rushed it. They rushed it.
So why don't they just do 9?
Because the showrunners didn't want it. The producer was like, we will fund in more money. Like, we don't care. Let's just have season 9. But the showrunners were like, no, let's not do that. And then what happened was
Why were you just looking at that old
I know,
lady?
She was looking at me, innit? So what do you want me to do, bro? I'm not
And he
gonna-
just started smirking.
Yeah, innit,
Nigga, I saw that. Sorry, I
What?
saw that, you know. But continue,
I
sorry.
smiled at
Scary.
her, innit?
That's scary, man.
I know
Well,
people get
I know
intrigued.
someone that's actually looking for some got watchers. to be part of a panel.
Game of Thrones, like podcast or show.
It's not really a show.
What
It's
is it?
just it's a podcast.
Nah, you
and
can do it.
Yeah,
Huh?
and they just want
massive.
people to talk about their experiences and yada yada yada.
Oh, I had a very bad experience with the last season. I had a very bad experience. It was so bad.
So you can jump on that.
It pissed me off so much, man. It pissed off so much people. Like,
I mean,
look, you know what it is? And the most piss-taking thing is how the showrunners and the scriptwriters say, oh, on the last episode, what we're doing is we've booked a place and we're gonna go there with our wives, and we're gonna stay away from technology. We're gonna have no phones because everyone's gonna be pissed off with us. They said the same thing in season 3 when Thing died. Rob Stark died. All right.
That's season 1.
That's not season 1.
Oh, when Rob Stark,
Yeah, that was season 3. Stop getting scared of little stuff, bro. Anyways, that was season 3. Okay.
pathetic.
But people was actually pissed off with him and said, yo, how can you kill someone like that? We loved him so much. But then people wanted to watch it more, alright? And they thought it was going to be the same effect with this season, but it's more like, you guys fucked up.
Yeah, but they
Like-
fucked up and it's never gonna come back again, is it?
Yeah, it's done, finished.
Yeah. So
Over 1 million people signed up for a remake of
Petition.
season. Yeah, it's not going to happen, but they're doing a prequel TV series.
sometimes some people need
A job.
they need a purpose in life.
Yeah, they actually do. I
whole-
thought of that.
That's the thing. What's gonna happen now? Now that it's all finished, what these actors gonna do and all
They're
of
gonna
these
sell
people?
all their merchandise that they spent all that money. on.
No, it's
These-
it's done.
I'm not talking about the producers and stuff. I'm talking about people that actually invested in buying
yeah.
Game of Thrones cups.
It still carries on
pens.
though. It still carries on. They're doing like 4 prequels, 4 spin-off TV series they're doing for Game of Thrones.
But for what reason?
Because Game of Thrones is not just that specific era. It's based on a book, like a series of books, yeah, and it's got stories before and after. So they're doing the prequel, the first one. It's about
These lot are making money. All I see is dollar signs. All I see is
No,
pounds.
let it be pounds because it's nice, man. Like
Okay.
it's nice.
It's nice for you nerds, fam, because you lot will watch it, bruv. You lot will actually invest your time into watching it. So will I, by the way.
I mean,
Because-
you watched it.
I did watch up until season 5 until Nahi decided to ruin it for me.
Really?
Yeah. So I tried to ruin it for him when I found out what happened in the last episode,
But I knew it.
but he knew. So my plan kind of backfired. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's start this episode how it should start. That's by talking about the weekly trending news. Next week will be on episode 40. We're hoping I would like a guest on the show for episode 40. Wouldn't you, Pfizer?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's always people that are willing to jump on.
Yeah, maybe
Um,
your friend. You know your friend.
Yeah, I mean, I have plenty of friends, you know.
Sorry.
There's plenty of people that
Sorry.
just want to jump on the podcast.
Sorry,
and
sorry.
Participate.
You know what I clocked? You didn't send me the podcast schedule.
It's because I was really proud of you this week.
What? Really?
Yeah, it all like
Synced.
yeah, it was in
Okay.
chronological order.
Oh, should we just do that
and
in
the
order?
topics
Should we do it
was
in order, yeah?
all, you know, merged. And I feel like this week it's about you and
Whatever.
and your brother.
Whatever.
yeah, I'm here to just support,
Yeah,
you
BS
know.
with caps lock. BS.
Yeah, I'm just here to support and just adore the bromance.
The
Oh,
bromance.
wow.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen you though. We're seeing each other on Wednesday. Oh
Wait,
my
wait.
god. We do need to speak about the Europa League finals.
What would you do if I actually ditch it?
If you what?
If I ditch you?
If you ditch me,
Yeah.
I'll watch the game by myself. I don't mind. Listen, the Europa League finals, this is a chance for Arsenal to win a European trophy in 25 years. It's our first final since 2006. This game will dictate
That's not
what
really
our
like-
season will be
Oh.
like. No, it's our first final
Yeah.
since 2006. This game will dictate what the next few years will be like at Arsenal Football Club. This will shape our transfer policies, the way that we approach every season. If we don't qualify for the Champions League, Pfizer, this is going to be,
Oh, you see me looking out the window, innit?
bruv. No, because I know you don't really care about this, but like I am. I don't think you guys understand how I've been preparing for this game for the last week. I'm still mentally preparing for it.
So who's playing?
Arsenal versus Chelsea. It's the Europa
that's
League
amazing.
finals. It's been played in Azerbaijan, in Baku.
Really?
Do you know how much flight tickets are?
Yeah, I know.
£500,
I know.
and they've only allocated. It's a 60,000 stadium, I think, 70,000 stadium, and they've only given both sets of fans 6,000 tickets each.
Why?
I don't know. This is UEFA. This is definition of UEFA. Just nonsensical.
Do you know what? I might have to.
What?
Might have to watch it.
It's gonna be lit, bruv.
I'm gonna watch it with my nephew.
No, I'm telling
and
you,
bond
bruv.
with him.
I'm so
I think
excited
it's
for
time
this
to close
game.
the windows, guys.
Yeah, let's close it a little bit. I'm so excited for this game. This game is going to be. Pfizer, do you know that last year around this time I cried.
Yeah, oh my God.
Because we lost the semi-finals of the Europa
League.
League.
Football is fixed?
Football's not fixed.
Okay.
But I was very, very upset. If we lose this final, I don't know what I'll do, fam.
But that wasn't a final. That was against Tottenham, and it was so embarrassing.
It wasn't Tottenham. It was Atletico Madrid. It was the semi-finals.
No,
It was.
It was Tottenham.
It was not Tottenham, bruv. It was Atletico Madrid. It was the
Tottenham, bruv.
semi-finals. It was Wenger's last European game in charge, and they couldn't get him through to the finals. They couldn't. For whatever reason, they couldn't. All right, let's not talk about this because I'll get emotional.
I would like to talk about it because it was very embarrassing. Okay.
Why?
This guy just put his head down, yeah. All right.
Hey, you might as well take the mic.
And then he was
It's got
actually
nothing to do with me.
he was actually like crying in it
This one?
in tears. He was crying.
At your big age.
And then
football can make a grown man cry.
yeah, it can. But then this other girl was like, "Is he okay?" I was like, "Oh my God." It
Did
was
you
just,
say that?
Yeah. She was like, "Is he okay?" I was like, "Yes." It was embarrassing, man. It was just embarrassing.
Bruv, Arsenal.
It was
like,
a pub.
But where was this?
Pub.
What?
It was a pub next to my house.
It's not necessarily a pub. They have
It's
a back garden. It's
tavern.
really nice. Clissold Tavern. You know Clissold Tavern.
Clissold Park
Why
Tavern.
acting like I go to pubs?
It's not a pub though.
It's not really. It's not a pub
I hate
like
when
that.
I say pub, yeah, everyone raises their eyebrow.
You know
like,
what?
Pub?
It's a pub /
What?
bar. Kind
No,
of.
they have a really big patio, like a garden bit
No,
at the
I
back.
understand,
and it's
You
wavy.
explain this to me every week.
Oh, serious?
Yes.
Nah, I feel like I have to know because
It's
everyone just
fine.
like
I'm not
raises
here to
questions
judge.
like.
It's fine.
I'm not here to judge.
Ramadan's nearly over.
I
and
even
then-
told someone like really close to me, like, yeah, I'm gonna watch the game at the the pub near Iron's house. They're like, It's like, yeah, the garden, the back garden, not the pub, the garden. Okay, Faz, you wanna have your mic back?
No.
All right. We're gonna jump on. So basically, today we're gonna be continuing our Ramadan special. It is episode 3 of the Ramadan special tomato podcast. We've got one more episode after this, and like every episode, we're talking about issues in the Islamic world. Not necessarily issues, but big things that have been happening throughout the last few years. And I think some of us are quite reluctant to talk about these issues that we're going to be talking about. So we're going to
say it with your chest.
What do you mean?
Say who name them.
Aham feels the same way.
Oh,
Now
is
he's
it?
always reluctant to talk about political issues.
Yeah, because it's like, what is your stance?
Okay, fine. This is going to be very interesting, and I'm quite glad that we're speaking about this. We're going to talk about the Gaza conflict. We're also going to talk about the Yemen tragedy, the heartbreaking tragedies that are happening in Yemen. The amount of kids that are dying from malnutrition, and just I don't know how you can describe it, but the insensitive nature of the Saudi government, of the Western countries to, leave people in such a situation. So we're going to talk about that. And then...
I think there's a fire in Morrison's.
You're joking.
Hello? There's a fire.
There's a fire engine. They're probably going to
Yeah.
get their lunch. No, there's not a fire. There's no smoke coming out.
No, it just explodes.
It's fine.
Oh my God, we're going to die.
We're going to be talking about a charity of our choice. Nahi and I, we can share one. I've got one ready. It's sick. This one's actually legit. You'll like it. Nigel Farage being hit
Can you
by a
tell me?
milkshake. What
They've
has
got the same car as you.
What has happened to the politicians of our day? Ooh, same car. Hello. Harvey Weinstein reaches 44 mil settlement with victims. So that's it. That's basically what we're going to talk about today. Right. So we'll start off with the Gaza conflict. So who wants to kick off with this conflict which has been happening for almost 100 years now?
I mean, I'm
Something
just
that's
gonna
never going to end.
put my opinion first.
Go
on. I mean, what can I say? I think it's one of those situations and one of those conflicts that we've become so immune to that we no longer really speak about it. And it's so complicated, and there's just so many layers that kind of intertwine that I don't really, until you actually brought it to me, I kind of ignored it, to be honest.
Okay.
And not necessarily because I don't care, but it's because...
What stops you from... Because I know a lot of people are really, like, on edge when it comes to this issue. When this topic comes up in a conversation, everyone's really reserved. And I'm not. I'm very outspoken about this, but that's generally because I'm an outspoken person. But what do you think, stops people from, like, indulging in that sort of conversation?
I think it's because of lack of knowledge.
Okay.
And of, like, the idea that there's so many lives that are being lost from both sides. Like, and there's no justification as to why this is happening anyways. There's no reason as to why this should continue to happen. And I think it's one of those conflicts or one of those situations in the world that people don't really have control over.
Yeah.
And not saying speaking about it can get you into trouble, but if you don't have
you're branded, aren't you? The moment you speak about it and you put your opinion forward, you're branded either left or right.
Yeah, exactly.
And yeah, I totally agree with you. I think when you're speaking about this conflict, you always have a bias towards one side.
Yeah, but the thing is with me, my bias doesn't come from that. My bias comes from the fact that there's lives being lost and people can't live a life. And, like, it's evident that this is not going to stop anytime soon. So it's like, why am I going to continue talking about something that I don't really, not necessarily don't understand, but it's like, I don't really know as to how this got signed off as is acceptable anyways.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Nahi, what about you? Like, why do you feel a little bit on edge when you're talking about these type of issues?
Giggles.
Come on, man, you just know me.
You're even on edge right now. What is it that scares you to talk about these issues? I mean, you're Turk, so
Yeah,
do you know what?
That's the issue.
That's the issue, isn't it? You're Turk.
Yeah,
I think
our religion and where we're from is already politicized, anyways.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm already a political person as it is.
Yeah, because you're from Somalia.
Yeah, I'm from Somalia and I'm Muslim and I'm a female and, like, do you know what I
Nahia's
mean?
from Turkey, so you guys both really...
No, and it's the same with you. You're a Muslim.
No, come on,
you're
Bangladesh. What's Bangladesh got to do with
It doesn't matter.
anything?
You're a Muslim, and it's like your race, your identity is already not necessarily problematic, but it already has stigmas behind it. Like, if you was to turn around and say, I hate a particular religious group, or I don't like this sort of religion, it'll be expected. Does that make sense?
But do you know what it is, right? I don't like to view myself as that type of person. The way that
100%.
Yeah, but let me just explain. So the type of person that I view myself as is someone who weighs up rational pros and cons and both sides of the argument. So regardless of who you are and what you represent, I always look at facts, right? And I always look at the story and the narrative behind each sort of situation. Of course you're bound to have certain prejudice and sort of what's that word that I used before? Certain biases because of where you come from, and you're bound to have some sort of sympathy because you connect with that person or that community on that level. But I always try to be outside of myself and try to view things from a different sort of lens. So when it comes to the Gaza conflict, Israel versus Palestine, a lot of people are always quick to jump the gun and to accuse me of supporting X, Y, and Z because of my background, but no one seems to see the facts, right? So, do you guys mind if I quickly go through a timeline?
Definitely.
I want to go for a timeline because I think it's very important for us to know the history, a brief history, but also the context behind why this has been blown up into such a big sort of conflict, and it is such a massive conflict. So,
100%.
The land of Palestine was previously owned by the Islamic Empire for centuries, hundreds of years, and it was kept by the Ottomans, so your people, Ayhan, until it was lost in World War One. Now, after that was lost, the British and the French, they owned the Middle East. So what did they do? They do what they do best, which is mess things up.
Divide and conquer.
Yes, divide and conquer. So they carved up the Middle East, and this was called the Sykes-Picot Act. I learned this in like sixth form. I was outraged when I heard about this. The fact that Britain literally they got a map of the Middle East and they started just drawing lines effectively.
Oh yeah, I forgot you're a historian.
Yeah, I'm not a very good historian, but I know my history. So they started carving up countries and started, putting governors in charge so that, they could still maintain control of that area. Now, the British allowed Jewish immigrants to go into Palestine because obviously they didn't really have a home. So they allowed for Jewish immigration to happen in the land of Palestine. Bearing in mind, Palestine was actually a country. At that time, Palestine was Palestine. But after the Holocaust, the world called for Palestine to be given to the Jewish people as their homeland. So let's forget about the Arab people who live there. Let's forget about, the people who are occupying that land, who call that land their home. Jewish people were being persecuted in Europe. They had, they went through a horrific event in history, and the world called for Palestine specifically to be given to them. This was listened to by the UN, who came up with a plan in 1947 to divide Palestine into two states, giving a portion of the land to the Jews, which was called Israel, and Palestine for the Palestinians. This plan was supposed to give both sides a homeland, and this was acceptable. This was legally acceptable because Britain owned Palestine after World War One. The Arab world was, of course, outraged, and the British and the UN, because the British and the UN were taking their land unfairly, unjustly. That's what they felt because of, colonization, and so the Palestinians and the rest of the Muslim world erupted. So in 1948, we saw the start of an Arab and Israeli war. The Israelis won the war. It lasted for about a year. And in doing so, they pushed their borders, the Israeli borders, they pushed it further into Palestine, which resulted in the reduction of Palestine and the growth of Israel, of course. So not only that, they also forced a large number of Palestinians to leave their homes, which resulted in the number of refugees in and around Palestine to increase. So we now see the problems arising from this war. The Six-Day War then followed in 1967, which saw another war between Israel and the Arabs, so the Arab nations. Arab nations lost, which resulted in Israel taking parts of Syria, Jordan,
How did
and
they lose?
Egypt.
What?
Huh? Say that again?
How did they lose?
Well, they lost. I mean, in a war, you've either got winners or losers, right? So the Israelis, well, of course, they were, backed up by the West, by the Americans, the British. So they had that backing there. And they managed to defeat the Arab nations. And like I said, they took parts of Syria, parts of Jordan, parts of Egypt. But most importantly, they occupied Palestine. So Palestine was now occupied by Israel. In 1978, which is about 11 years after that war, Israel and Egypt signed an agreement, which was brokered by the US, which would controversially give back Egypt its land. So the land that Israel owned, they gave back. What?
Can I interrupt? Is that not your old car?
No. This is an old model.
Oh,
Sorry.
Stop looking, man.
Okay. So let's get back to the story, right? 1978, Israel and Egypt made up. Israel basically said, right, look, I'm sorry for taking your land. We'll give it back to you. So they shook hands, and this was very controversial in the Arab world because, we're talking about a group of countries who were they were very, very close. They were very intimately facing this problem together as if it was one country. So for Egypt to go behind the other Arab countries' backs to sign an agreement with the Israelis and the West was seen as treasonous.
Of course.
That's the way that they viewed it. So this followed the assassination of the Egyptian Prime Minister Anwar Sadat. Meanwhile, Israel continued to control and govern the West Bank and Gaza. But this saw the emergence of the PLO, the Palestinian Liberation Organization, who basically they sought to regain the lands that they lost. Fighting between Palestine and Israel went on for years. So whilst this was happening, Israeli citizens were moving into West Bank and Gaza. So the so the little parts that were left for the Palestinians, now the Israeli citizens were coming into those parts, making themselves feel like they were at home. And whilst doing that, they were also protected by the IDF, the Israeli Defense Force. They had a lot of benefits to moving into Palestinian territory. They were given cheaper homes. They were given, obviously, a lot of security. And they were given basically a way to... This was sort of like a tactic to take over the whole of Palestine, right? This frustration exploded into the first Intifada, the uprising, in 1987, and it lasted until 1993. At the same time, Hamas was born. Whippy! Hamas was born in Gaza because they thought that the PLO were too compromising. So the PLO were the liberal version of like a governing body in Palestine. Whereas the Hamas were sort of the conservative side. They were more about violence, taking back their land with whatever means possible. So the world tried to make amends between Israel and Palestine through negotiations, through treaties, but extremists on both sides made that very, very difficult. And that broke up, that saw the reignition of the second Intifada, which lasted from 2000 and 2005, resulting in 1,000 Israeli deaths and 3,200 Palestinian deaths. This also resulted in Israel becoming more conservative towards Palestine, building up walls, creating checkpoints in order to control the movement of Palestinians. But in 2015, Israel did give back Gaza to Hamas. Yes, but at the same time, they are building blockades around the Palestinians. So that's a brief history on the Israel-Palestine conflict. What do you think? What do you think of what I've just said?
I just feel like a lot of the stuff that you said is definitely a timeline of what has happened. Yes, but it's like, who is... I mean, I'm not going to necessarily say who's supporting Israel, but it's like...
Well, come on, we know who's supporting Israel, the West and the US,
where are they getting,
right?
You know, this money from? Where are they getting this, you know, the funding to fund all these weapons, all these, like, I don't know, whatever it is. Like, how is this system been put in place, and how is it now running? Like, who are behind? You know, who is behind this superpower now? Because Israel's a superpower. Let's be honest. Like, it's a powerful country. Now, so it's like, as much as you're telling me, this is why I don't really like, not necessarily like not like talking about it, but it's like, yeah, we already know that, you know, whatever's happening is it's unfair and it's unjust, and there's so many people that are like refugees, and there's just so many unhumane things that are happening. But it's like, what is the rest of the world doing, and how are they contributing to this? And it's like, what is the US doing? What is, you know, the UK doing? What are Japan? What are Korea? What are all these countries doing? And it's like, it just reminds me of the fact that I don't really have power in so many different ways, and it's just a lot of things that are happening in the underworld. Not necessarily like, but I always believe that this is just the surface, and that with what we talk about on a day-to-day basis, like whatever's in the media and whatever, it's not the full-on truth. And it's like, people have written books, they've studied this hard, and it's like, I haven't really studied this like in depth. It's like, okay, so after the Holocaust, everyone thought, okay, it's a good idea for, you know, Jewish people to then go to Palestine, because this is, you know, it's a holy kind of like, not necessarily city, but it's a holy country. Okay, it makes sense. But it's like, the descendants of like the Israelis, where do they come from? So are they Arabs too? Is that why we agreed that this was acceptable? Does that make sense?
As far as I know that Britain controlled Palestine at that time, so it was sort of under their responsibility.
The occupation.
It was up to them and the UN. So I don't know what happened.
Exactly. Does that make sense? That's the question.
But what I'm saying is the UN and Britain came to an agreement that they should give Palestine to the Jewish people.
But it's like, how did they come to this agreement? Because let's say I'm Somali. I mean, I apparently I have descendants from from Yemen or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
I can't now go to Yemen and be like, I want a bit of land.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I think,
It's like,
I think regardless.
Everyone is from somewhere
Yeah.
that they're not really supposed to be.
Personally, yeah.
And
This is
has
what I
migrated
think,
across the world. So
I
it's
think
like,
regardless of what the UN and Britain, whatever negotiations they had, whatever reasoning they came up with to give Palestine to the Jewish people, regardless, we are looking at the consequences of that today, and we are seeing the consequences of many of the decisions that they've made around the world today. Look at the state of the Middle East. The Middle East is the way it is because of the way that it was geographically partitioned. Why would you put two groups of people who have so many differences aside, right next to each other? You look at Iraq and Iran, right? Two groups of people who couldn't be any more different if they tried, living on the border of each other. These are problems that are never going to disappear because of the way that the British decided to geographically partition the Middle East, right?
but then doesn't this go back to what you said last week about, like, maybe not last week, but the week before, that Muslim countries allowed this to happen? And if they had continued, let's say, having the Ottoman Empire controlling their land or whatever, and everyone stayed united, then the British and the West wouldn't have been able to divide and conquer like this.
Exactly.
So who does the blame lie on?
I don't think anyone is necessarily to blame. I think it's a very unfortunate event that had to happen in history. The Islamic Empire was there to keep the Muslim world united together, strong, one, right? And it was just an unfortunate tragedy that the Ottoman Empire had to fall, and which saw the end of an Islamic caliphate. And now we're seeing the consequences of what happens when an Islamic empire isn't ruling. A lot of people will listen to what I'm saying and say, well, that's a backward statement to make. That's really uneducated of you. Why shouldn't each country be given their own sort of democratic independence? Well, we're seeing why they shouldn't. Because some countries don't suit democracy, whilst other countries do. Unfortunately, that's just the reality of life. Democracy doesn't work everywhere. Capitalism doesn't work everywhere. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know, but it's like the whole idea that we're trying to paint the whole world with one kind of paintbrush. But
yeah, that's a big problem.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. It's like, is it ever gonna change?
I don't think so. Like I said, I think we're so far into this. I'm trying to think of another word for shit, but I'll just say it. We're so far into this shit that some stuff are just irreversible, and we're just gonna see things get worse and worse. So I think it's important that we all educate ourselves on these types of matters, the Israel-Gaza conflict. I think I don't think we should shy away from it, and I don't think we should be scared to be involved in dialogue, because both sides clearly have really passionate views, emotive views, and also strong views on their own respected sides. But I think dialogue helps in order to throw down all different types of arguments, and it also allows us, it gives us a chance to understand each other, right?
I get what you mean, but it's like, obviously, when Israel was being created, and Israelis or Jewish people that you come across now, the majority of them, I mean, I haven't really had conversations like this before, but would they agree with what's going on in Palestine? Would they?
There are two different people in Israel, all right. One is you know, those Orthodox guys, the ones the ones that walk around with the hats and so on and so on. They protest against Israel.
Yeah. Okay.
Those guys protest against Israel, and then they get prisoned. Like, you can go on YouTube and see all the protests that they've done. They actually stoned their own police officers.
I've seen this before in the UK actually.
Yeah, here too. They don't like what Israel's doing. I mean, I don't. And then there's the other side. They're more nationalistic, but they don't really deal with the religious side of their culture, and they're the ones who actually have the power in their country. So, you can't really do anything. And how Farhan said, it's the Muslims' fault of what happened. It's true, because like how the Ottoman Empire got destroyed and so on and so on. It only happened because of one reason. Everyone wanted their own independence, and then and it all happened secretly. For example, if Yemen, if there's a huge European army marching onto Yemen, and if the Ottomans are sending their own troops to defend Yemen, and if the Prince of Yemen, an Arab Prince of Yemen, is doing a treaty with the European forces, saying, all right, if we help you guys overnight, and we're gonna have our own country, our own independence, they go, all right, yeah, of course we will. Overnight, the Ottoman soldiers, they got burnt in their tents and their throats got slit. And a Muslim is doing this to a Muslim, so we're destined to be doomed. It's not going to change. If a Muslim is doing this to a Muslim, we're destined to be doomed. It's not going to change in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, 100 years. It's not going to change.
So do you think that's the problem then?
Of course that's the problem, because...
even till today?
Of course, yeah, of course. It's always been the problem. They just, we don't want to be unified. I mean, all right, cool. We were unified twice. After this, after our prophet, after we were, how long was it? Hundreds of years we were unified under the caliphate, and then after that, what happened? The Crusaders came, and then we got dissolved a bit, but then the Ottoman Empire came, and then again a unification. But then even during that, in the 1800s, like I said, if Ottoman army is coming to aid Yemen in battle, and if the Prince of Yemen is sending his men while the Ottoman Empire, while the Ottoman soldiers are sleeping, burning their tents and cutting their throats, just so that he can have his own independence, then there's nothing else to say. It's always going to be like that.
Wow.
And on that note, I think we'll move on.
To Yemen?
No, I'm going to save Yemen until next week, because Yemen is quite also an in-depth sort of topic that I want to talk about and go into a little bit more.
Okay.
And I just don't think we have that much time to talk about Yemen. But I think it's quite exciting to keep Yemen for the last sort of Ramadan special, because
we really have just pushed Yemen to the side, didn't it?
No. I'm saving Yemen for the last. So that's the most. I personally, if I'm looking at issues around the world, humanitarian issues around the world, I would put Yemen right at the top.
100%. I think Yemen's just been ignored.
They
haven't really done anything wrong.
No. A, it's been ignored. B, there are children. There are.
Yeah.
Do you know? I think the majority of the population in Yemen are children. Are under the age of 18 or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah.
And it's just Anyway.
Okay.
We'll keep that for another day. So I want to talk about one of my charity organizations for episode 3, and it's a charity. Well, it's not really a charity; it's an organization which it's like a third party for charities. It's called My 10 Nights. So My 10 Nights, we all know the blessings of the 10 nights, the last 10 nights of Ramadan. One of the odd nights is Laylatul Qadr, which is I said that bare Somali fam, innit? Laylatul Qadr. So that is.
I don't even know what was the difference he said from just now and before.
I kind of stretched out the last bit. Anyway,
is that how Somali people talk?
I don't know. It just sounded a bit Somali.
After I was just talking about Muslim people targeting each other.
Oh, shut up, man! I'm not targeting no one, man.
Oh, yeah.
Allow it, man. Somalis have a beautiful dialect.
I know.
So why are you trying to? So what are you trying to say?
I don't know. It's because you look back and you're like.
You are Somalian. Hello. I was looking for validation.
Just continue. I'm just annoying you. It's not Somalian. It's Somali.
Who's your Turkish dialect?
Yeah.
Bruv.
We don't even have a dialect, to be honest. We just have.
Why are you Turks so nationalistic? Why are you so proud?
We don't even say Laylatul Qadr.
So what do you lot say?
Qadr gecesi.
Bruv. So why are you trying to remix Arabic for? Why are you trying to remix Arabic for?
We don't remix Arabic. It's just Turkish.
They just speak it. They just
No, I'm sick and tired of Turkish people being so pro-Turkey.
Shut up, man. Bangladeshi people say Azim.
Azim?
What's that?
They don't say Azim.
Oh yeah. They can't speak Arabic to save their lives.
Us too, though. We say that too.
No, there's no Z.
Yeah, there's no Z, my guy.
We say Azim.
It's
no, there's no Z.
The Imams will obviously not say Azim.
Yeah.
Azim. What?
Yeah.
Jeez. Alright, cool. I see you. This is sick. Arabic lessons. Anyway. So my 10 nights, right? Laylatul Qadr. Again,
Looks
sounded
back
mad
at me.
Somali. Anyway, so that's basically one of the nights in the last 10 nights, one of the odd nights where it's better than 1,000 nights or 100,000.
I'm not quite too sure. I think it's equivalent to a year, no?
No. It's like 1,000 nights. So better than 1,000 nights, they say. So basically, My 10 Nights is a platform where you can donate money. You can put money, and it will distribute your money throughout that 10 nights. So there's a number of different charities on there where you can give to. Penny Appeal, Islamic Relief, XYZ. And the purpose of My 10 Nights is that they will, as I said, they will distribute your money the way that you want to. So you can do it either on the odd nights or you can do it every single night. But the point of it is that it will donate money every single night for the last 10 nights.
Of
Which is sick.
Ramadan, right?
Of Ramadan, yeah.
Okay.
Which is awesome.
Okay.
Have you got anything that you want to...
Have you done it?
What? Yeah.
Oh.
I just said it.
Is this no?
My
I
10
mean,
Nights.
why didn't you tell me?
Yeah, My 10 Nights, yeah. What do you mean? Why that too? Oh, have I done it?
Yeah.
As in, oh yeah, I've done it.
So you didn't want to share it with me?
No,
then?
you can still do it.
Yeah, but I've
We're not
missed
in
like 2 days.
Saying, like, yo, like, you're not telling me, my guy.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
No,
what
I
you
know.
said.
I'm sorry. You
Yeah,
know me, right?
He does it. He's been ignoring me, guys.
No, not on purpose. This week I haven't been doing it on purpose. This week has been jam packed. This week has been like, I haven't had time to breathe. Like, I've still got 8 chats open.
What, we've got like 8 days left of Ramadan. I've missed 2 days already.
Don't try and point the blame on me, bruv. Are you
She's
mad?
trying,
How you trying to
man.
blame it on me?
Muslimism.
Listen, be thankful. I'm
Support.
telling you now, innit? You can still do it. Still like 7 nights.
Okay,
It's cool. They'll do it, man. It'll be sick.
it's fine.
I'll make
fine.
dua for you.
Oh, you make it now.
No,
You didn't do
no,
it before.
Oh,
I'm tired. People just out here just worried about themselves and the
Nah,
streets.
I'm
innit?
like special one.
Mm.
Nah, I
Okay.
will.
I see you.
Nah,
Well, my charity
I got.
is Ummah Welfare Trust, and they have 100% donations.
Say that again. What is it?
Ummah
Okay.
Welfare Trust.
All right, go on.
So they have a 100% donations policy.
Yeah.
So everything they do is 100%.
So who pays them? Or they have sponsors?
They have sponsors and they do fundraising, but that is actually from a different account.
Okay.
So whatever you donate goes to their. So they have 2 accounts. They have one account where it's just like
Funds them.
the admin, the fundraising.
Yeah.
They can claim gift aid,
Yeah,
all
yeah.
of that stuff. And then they have the other account, which is just for like donations.
Yeah.
So they have a 100% policy donate. What is that?
It's a green bug.
I love this.
Oh my God.
Should I give
Okay.
it to you?
Why is it? No, don't give it to me. Don't give it to me. Don't give it to me, bruv. No, don't.
Come on.
No, I don't like green bugs. Go away. I will kill it. It's Ramadan as well. Don't. I don't want to kill it. Just put it out the window. Save
At
its
your
life.
big age.
Save
At
its
your
life.
big age.
Come on.
No, I don't like
Come on,
insects,
bro.
man. You're gonna kill it. You're gonna be responsible for the death, you know. Big man says you're gonna be responsible for the death. Alright, cool. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
This
Guys,
guy
I've-
went to a restaurant, yeah?
Yeah.
He.
Why is there insects at a restaurant, first of all?
That's a good question. But hey, the doors are open, innit?
Yeah.
But this guy just jumped out up and down. And then we went to.
It was a daddy long legs.
At your big age.
But why? It's insects,
Pfizer,
man.
Pfizer, forget
Have you
that.
got a phobia?
Yeah, I've not phobia, but I just don't like insects.
You need to go to like third world countries more.
Arachnophology.
Yeah, and then it will force you to like get used to it because you'll see them all the time.
Mm.
I think that's the problem.
I've been seeing a lot of insects in my house lately, so I am quite
This
comfortable.
guy has everything, though. We went to a guy's house, remember?
Oh yeah, I don't like cats or dogs.
This guy just embarrassed me so much.
No, dogs is okay. I don't mind dogs
He
anymore.
was jumping up and down.
Yeah, but why is it trying to get onto me?
It's a cat.
I don't care. Don't come near me. Bruv, stay in your lane, innit? Sit down.
What?
Don't be trying playing with me.
Ram, calm down, bro.
He keeps
Why
on
you get so
jumping up.
scared?
Yeah, close your windows, bro.
Pfizer, carry on. So,
yeah,
so
anyways,
charity, yeah.
moving on.
So,
So they've got 100% donations policy,
Yeah.
and yeah, I just think that's really, really important, especially when people are donating their money.
yeah,
People know where their money's going.
Yeah.
And they are actually helping. They have an appeal for Yemen, and they
Good.
really focus on humanitarian crisis.
Mhm.
And the fact that they have a 100% donation policy
mm,
really does enforce that their money is going where it's needed most.
mm.
So that's that. Yeah, we can move on. Nahaya, do you have a charity that you want to talk about?
No, don't think Nahia does. Nahia doesn't believe in charity.
What?
Nahia, you don't believe in
I
charity.
don't believe in charity. No, you know what the thing is? Like you guys would like, speak about, this account, that account,
Huh? What do you mean don't post it? Why?
I look butters, bruv.
What's
Allow it. Start again.
cool.
Guys, it always catches
Sorry,
me
I'm
slipping.
trying to do Instagram promotion thing. So maybe you guys can join us actually. Let's do a live Instagram promotion.
I hope your data finishes.
Hi guys, we are now recording episode 39
What
of
do
the
you
Tomato.
mean? We're in the middle of a conversation.
What?
How you even... I'm confused.
I'm trying to do a promotion.
But how are you supposed to do a promotion during your podcast recording?
Because why not?
That doesn't make sense.
Let's try and break the boundaries, man.
We're not breaking no boundaries. We just interrupted the conversation. Anyways, moving on to a different topic.
We're gonna talk about Nigel Farage now. Join us tomorrow out. So no one's really impressed.
No, we're really not.
All right, cool. Right, we're talking about Nigel Farage getting milkshaked. Did you guys see this video of Nigel
I
Farage?
didn't see the video, but I've heard that he gets milkshake.
First things first, do you think he deserved it?
It depends on what he was doing. I mean, what was he doing?
He was campaigning.
And what was he saying during the campaign?
Nothing. He was just meeting people.
Alright, then perhaps not, I guess.
Pfizer?
I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole theme of this podcast, I guess, or this episode, not necessarily the podcast. With the whole idea of obviously Israel and the Palestinian war, and obviously on both sides people are losing lives.
Yeah.
You can't really fight hate with hate.
Yeah.
So we all know he is a dickhead.
Yeah.
But
grade A.
yeah, he is. We already know this, and it's you can't argue that he isn't a dickhead. But it's you can't really use violence to make them feel I don't know. Obviously, that person's trying to prove a point.
It's a milkshake.
But it's
though.
yeah, I know.
This is the argument. The argument is...
No, it doesn't matter that it's a milkshake.
Yeah.
If you feel like this person should not have the platform that he has, you go for his money. You go for his jobs. You make complaints. There's so many different ways that we can go about targeting people like him.
Right.
It's the same way with how people have been dealing with Israel for the last so many years. There's so many, let's say, Palestinians that actually go out every Friday and they go to West Bank and they protest every single Friday since 2018. It's these kind of approaches, although their lives are being lost during those protests, it's these are the type of strategies that people should be taking, not throwing milkshake. Because
then you're going to give him material.
Yeah, exactly. You're giving him the platform that he wants.
Yeah,
And
you
the
make a
clout
good
that
point.
He wants.
You make a good point.
That's
However,
one. And two,
go on.
it's similar to that Asian guy that threw milkshake at Tommy
Robinson.
Yeah, it was although he did that, it's he got painted that he was violent.
Yeah.
But it actually wasn't like that.
It's a milkshake though.
No, but it's still an insult.
So are you trying to say that dashing a milkshake is fine, or he's saying, "Oh wow, it's a milkshake"?
I'm saying it's problematic.
Bruv, I don't know.
Me too.
If I'm being honest with you, I don't
it
know.
can't be justified.
I don't know whether it can be justified or not because you are antagonizing people. As a politician, this is your job as a politician. Your politician is to enforce policy and is to basically stand for your manifesto and do good by the people, right?
But is he going out there throwing milkshakes at people?
No, but so Nigel Farage, we all know what Nigel Farage is about. He's he has a very extreme set of beliefs and rules that he follows, and at the minute he's trying to promote his party, the Brexit Party, in order to win seats at the European Parliament. Yeah, and he has been, sprouting a lot of right-wing propaganda, which a lot of people aren't happy about. This has, by default, increased the number of, I would say, hostility between the right and the left. And so you have to ask the question of whether Nigel Farage is doing more good than bad for society. And if he is doing more bad than good, then you have to say that, isn't it sort of a bit, what's the word I'm looking for? Isn't he always going to face these consequences regardless of whether Like I'm okay. I'll put this on the record. Yeah, I don't think the guy should have dashed a milkshake at the guy's face.
Thank you.
But I say this.
What do you expect?
That yeah. A, what do you expect? B, it was a milkshake. Like, come on, guys, let's get over it. It wasn't acid. We didn't get punched in the face. It was a milkshake. Let's compare to what happened to Joe Cox, the MP who got murdered by a right-wing extremist. A milkshake got dashed in his face, right? I don't think there was any maliciousness or violent sort of...
What?
I don't think there was any maliciousness or violence.
So he did it out of love.
I think he did it to make a mockery out of Nigel Farage.
But that's still... Yeah, he still got nabbed for it. He got arrested for it.
Yeah. Yes, I know, of course, because the British law states that if you,
Yeah, and
in the British law, it's just...
All right, maybe it's principle that you shouldn't dash milkshakes at, anyone's faces. But let's be honest, Nigel Farage deserved it, and I'm glad that he got that treatment.
I mean, this person now, what's his name? Paul Crowther?
I don't know what his name is, but he's a legend.
Yeah, that had threw the milkshake. Paul. He actually was arrested.
Yeah.
And was charged with assault and criminal damages.
Right.
It's like, was it really worth it? No.
It wasn't worth it. No, it
Nigel was sitting on thousands of pounds. He's got money.
He's got a lot of money.
Yeah, he's wealthy.
He's been funded by a criminal.
And you're just out here now with a criminal records against a politician.
Backfired.
And I don't think when you are looking for jobs, I mean, certain jobs they'll take you if they want. But certain jobs won't take you when you have a criminal record like that. So what did you actually benefit from it? Nothing.
Good point. Very good point.
Yeah, so it's like what you did wasn't even, it was pointless. That's what I think anyways. But I get, if a cunt like that was standing in front of me who is manipulative and he is not necessarily a horrible person, but his agendas are not that great, then yeah, definitely, I don't know if I would throw a milkshake. I don't think I would.
I wouldn't.
But I wouldn't give him,
of course not.
Yeah, I wouldn't give him a time of day.
Same.
So, yeah, moving on.
Theresa May. This is the big news.
I'm just going to have to say, I really salute Twitter, people that are on Twitter right now.
Why?
Because they are finishing her. How could during her speech they put the EastEnders theme song? And you know the one that when someone's leaving,
I saw that
the
one.
extended.
I saw that one.
I said, I'm actually dead right now. How are people dancing to her speech?
Bruv, Theresa May. Okay, let's go around and let's just say briefly in a couple sentences how we feel about her resignation. Start with you, Nahia.
It was expected, over the past couple of weeks, anyways. But I have respect for her, to be honest with you, because she actually stood her ground, man. Like, what she stood for, it was wrong still, but she stood her ground.
Pfizer.
To be honest, quite frankly, it doesn't make a difference for me if she decided to resign or not. We already know the Conservative Party have no interest in supporting people who are like myself. And it doesn't support, working class people. It doesn't support anyone who's vulnerable, any marginalised communities, disabled people, just name it all. They don't support that. They don't support them in any sort of way. They don't support, it's all about capitalism. It's all about self-interest. And it's the fact that she's left, I feel quite sorry for her because...
Do you?
Yeah, definitely, because... she can't have made all these decisions by herself anyways.
Yeah, you're right.
It's the people from her party.
Yeah.
So it's like the fact that they sat there with her, made these decisions and whatever, they're still going to go and stab her in the back anyways. And they've done that and they're going to do that. So it's like, when you look at people like Boris Johnson and all these other people who have always constantly been have said the opposite to what she's said. It's like you've always wanted her not to succeed anyways. So I feel quite sorry for her for the fact that she didn't do a good job. But I don't feel sorry that she cried. And I think the fact that she cried is actually pathetic.
Yeah, so pathetic.
Why are you crying now?
So
And it's like so
I
many
can tell
people
you
have-
why she was crying, because
No.
she's messed up her legacy. That's why she's crying, because she messed up.
But she's fine. She has enough money to last.
It's not,
her.
but for her, it's not about money. For her, she's a lady who has been supporting and doing work for her country and for her party for her whole life. Her whole life has come up to this stage in order to cement her legacy and make her one of the most influential prime ministers the country has ever known. And the fact that now she has become the worst prime minister the country has ever known has
you think she's the
broken
worst?
her. She's the worst. She's the worst prime minister. People are making the statement that we have never seen a more incompetent prime minister ever, and that's ruined her, because she joined the Conservative Party at what age of 11? She was doing work for them, sealing letters and doing odd jobs here and there. She became a member of Parliament in 1997. She then became Foreign Secretary, and for like several years, and then she became MP, and then it all went tits up. It all went pear-shaped. Let me give my quick reaction. My reaction to Theresa May resigning was A, good riddance. B, as someone who is more liberal, I'm a little bit not upset, but I'd say a little bit disappointed that she resigned, because she was doing exactly what I wanted her to be doing, which is digging her party right underground. And I think the Conservatives now are finished. They are a finished party, because she has led them into like the worst possible direction they could go to, lying to their voters, coming back with negotiating a deal which is no different to staying in the EU, and to put the nail in the coffin, then coming back and saying, okay, fine, we'll give the people a second referendum, something which she was opposing to throughout the beginning. Also, not leaving the EU on the 31st, like she promised she would. So, for me, I don't feel sorry for her at all. I think she is, I respect her incredibly. I give her the utmost respect, because she's a lady of integrity. Okay, maybe not. Okay, I don't want to say integrity, because she didn't follow through with what she said she would.
Integrity in what way?
But I think she's very integral to her party. She's very integral to her conservative values. She is a very, very hard-working lady who has the best interest of the party at heart. But that's the problem. The problem here is that she is too party-centered. She doesn't look at her country. She doesn't look at all the factions, the different parts of societies around her. All she knows is conservative, being in power, being in control.
Conservative.
Yeah, and manipulating conservative policy. So I don't feel sorry for her. I think she got what she deserved. I think whoever comes in power next has an incredibly difficult job at hand. And if it's Boris Johnson, then there's not going to be much difference other than losing that professional, respectable image of a Conservative Party. Theresa May gave them that honour, that dignity. If you put someone like, what's his name, Boris Johnson, in control of your party, Uncle BJ in control, mophead, like, come on, guys, we have an image to preserve.
Who do you think will be?
Well, there's a number of different candidates. You've got Dominic Raab, you've got Esther McVeigh, you've got. By the way, these are names that I'm just shouting out. Names that I just heard that I don't have a clue about.
I don't have a clue of how this works, anyways.
Listen, so the way that this
Savage
happened,
Javid can become.
Yeah, he could, but he hasn't stood yet. He hasn't declared that he's standing.
So, do you think that's why he's been acting up with the whole Shamima Begum thing?
I think all of these politicians have an agenda. I
100%.
think what's her name? Andrea Leadsom, who was she was the leader of the House of Commons. I think her resigning a day after, not even a day, a couple of hours before Theresa May announced her resignation, was the perfect example of what a politician is. A politician is slimy, snaky, and the reason why she quit her position is because she knew that Theresa May was going to resign and that she wanted to get her feet in there before anyone else did.
I think that's what the problem is as well. It's just a lot of people can't trust politicians.
Yeah, politics right now is at a stage.
Yeah, and it's like...
10 years ago, we would all bicker and we would all gossip about politicians being this, that, and the other. But no one would see it. right? This was always sort of like a
hidden.
behind the door kind of
Yeah.
agenda where politicians would make decisions based on their own interest, or they would lie to the general public, but they would do it in such a way where it was a bit
It
concealed.
made sense.
No one really saw this, but now we're living at a time now where politicians are openly lying and deceiving the public, and they have no problem with that. So I think right now politics right now in this country in 2019 is in such a mess where it's like a movie. It's like a bit of like a comedy show.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
And do you think that other European countries are looking at us like what?
They're laughing at us. We are the biggest joke in Europe. We are like in the Eurovision Song Contest, Britain came last, or they came in one of the lowest positions.
They're always shit though.
No, but they don't do this badly.
They always do this bad.
No, they don't. They don't. They never come this badly. They never come in this sort of position. And the reason why I think we did come in this position is because of Brexit. No one respects us. Nobody respects Britain.
In Eurovision, Britain or England has never ever put in a good act. Never.
Who won?
I don't know. I don't really watch Eurovision.
Same. I haven't watched it since like I was 10.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
moving on to the.
But the funny thing about Eurovision is, all neighbours just vote for each other. That's why Turkey dropped out.
Yeah, because no one likes Turkey.
No, it's not just that. I mean,
It's true though. No one does like Turkey.
yeah, no one likes. It's true. No one likes Turkey. But it's just weird that they don't give the points because the music is good. They give the point because the relations are good. So what's the point of having Eurovision?
So then maybe Farhana's right. It's
Yeah.
because of Brexit.
No, but it's been like that with the UK for how long though?
Oh, okay.
Anyways, I don't care about the Eurovision Song Contest. I care more about Harvey Weinstein and him giving 44 million. Yeah, we're on 4% by the way, guys. We're on 4%. The laptop's on 4%. So we need to wrap up. But I feel a bit sad that we're wrapping up because I don't feel like we've really touched the surface of many things. What do you think?
I think, I mean, our common theme this week, I guess, is just the power dynamics across the whole universe and just,
Sick.
yeah.
I
Just
love when you come out of stuff like this. I can always rely on you to rescue me when I'm down and beaten.
Why are you down and beaten right now?
Because that was a sick way to summarize this episode.
Yeah, it's true though. It's just like that's what when I was looking at the topics of this week, I was like, yeah, it just really does look at
Power
the
dynamics.
importance, the power dynamics and just the relationships.
If I
between
could name
people.
this episode, I'd call it Power Dynamics, but I don't name episodes.
Okay, that's fine. But
So-
yeah, continue.
Anyway, Harvey Weinstein has reportedly reached out to his victims and he's agreed to give them a $44 million settlement. So what do we think about this? Do we think that Weinstein should be able to pay physical cash for the crimes that he's committed?
I mean,
What do we think about Weinstein first and foremost?
well, let's just explain
Harvey
what
Weinstein.
happened first.
Nahir doesn't know who Harvey Weinstein is.
I mean, I didn't know him either
What?
till you told.
Guys, where have you been living? Under
yeah,
a rock?
like until you told me to look at this topic.
Bruv, he's the
I mean,
guy that
I know he was like charged with
Yeah,
several criminal charges actually.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
The sex act, sex abuse, sexual misconduct for alleged incidents
UK?
involving
No, he's
two
one of
separate
one of
women.
Hollywood's biggest directors.
Yeah. So he was
I might know him. Then. Wait, hold on. Let me check.
yeah, Google him. Anyways, he was these are just two women, so two separate incidents in 2013 and 2004. But he pleaded not guilty to the charges. in New
Continues
York.
to as well.
Yeah, of course he will. And yeah, so the first case was dismissed. Then, he then declared that he was bankrupt. His business was bankrupt last year. So in May 2018, when these women had filed these allegations.
Yeah.
So, anyways, do you want to go first about your opinion?
Well, listen, I'll just briefly, say what I think about this situation. Harvey Weinstein says he's not guilty, yet he's come to a settlement agreement, $44 million, to pay out to the victims and everyone involved. What does that tell you? He's obviously guilty and he knows he is, and he thinks that he can pay for these crimes through his influence, his power. And what does that tell all the other criminals out there, the white collar criminals who, you know, are committing all of these fraudery and tax evasion and, you know, stuff like this?
Don't make sure it doesn't go to the media because wasting your time.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Exactly. When such a big movement like, what was it called? Me Too. When the Me Too movement, one of the biggest movements of that year, paved the way for Harvey Weinstein to be charged. When that doesn't even work, what hope does that give others? Like,
we just have to continue rising from situations like this, and it just, again, it proves the fact that a white man in such a powerful position can get away with shit like this, and no one will hold him
accountable.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just the same with all these other countries and all these other conflicts and all this stuff that's been happening. It's like, who actually holds these people accountable? Who is the world in debt to?
Yeah.
Like, it's just questions like that, and it just makes you really go back to the fact that justice is served based on sometimes your luck. And that's just how it is. Well, the fact that he's paying 44 million. What's that? He's got more money than 44 million. Give them $1 billion then, okay, and get charged.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but he should go to prison too.
Oh no, what? How did a fly just literally fly in? Get out of here, man.
He should go to prison.
He should go to prison, and this is what I was gonna say. I'll be really upset if he doesn't. I'll be really upset if he doesn't get prison time.
He won't.
Because
I can bet £50 he won't.
£50.
Yeah.
No, I don't have
his trial's set for September. It will definitely get extended for another year. Other people will probably come forward, and then they will just continue. It's just the same with what happened with R. Kelly. He's still not in prison.
Yeah. How is he still not in prison, bro?
Exactly. It's still ongoing. Because, yeah, like, people are now, they're going to continue coming forward because their voices are now being heard.
Yeah.
So it's the same with him. I'm sure there's 2 people that have already reported him anyways. So I guess it's just one of those scenarios that we just have to wait and see.
We will keep you posted
on
the Harvey Weinstein case.
So I don't think we're going to talk about how this week has been going for us.
Oh yeah, Ramadan. For Ramadan. Yeah. Week 3. How's week 3 been? We'll just touch on it really briefly. Nahi, how's your week 3 been?
In terms of Ramadan?
Yeah.
I mean, it was good. I think it was just one day where I was like, on Monday. Oh man, on Monday it was so bad because you know how I get my headaches, my migraine, and if you get migraine during fasting, it's not good. So it was very bad. I left work early.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Sick. I love the way you summarize things. Do you not love the way you summarize?
It's so quick.
Yeah.
And so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I guess that's.
I got a headache, and you know headaches are bad. Yeah, I got headaches.
I mean, I think mine has been really. It's been pretty much the same, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't been getting headaches, but damn, I've been working and like, I don't know. I felt like this week was quite hard. But yeah, I mean, it just means that things are I'm trying to rush.
Yeah, week 3
wrap
has
it
been
up.
calm. And you know it's going by so quickly. By next Tuesday, it would have all finished. We're on 1%, so I'm going to summarize. Thank you very much for listening to the Tomato Podcast, episode 39. It was great to have you guys listening to us again. And if you've reached the end, give yourself a pat on the back because it's a big achievement.
Boom.
1 hour and 18 minutes. So good job. Ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to connect with us, we are on Instagram and Twitter. Instagram at the Tomato Podcast, Twitter at Podcast Tomato. We're also on Facebook as well. We haven't been that active lately, but we will be active lately soon. So, you know, keep an eye out. Drop us a little follow, a little subscription here and right. Sorry about that. Basically the old battery, it died, so I'm gonna have to summarize 10:45 a.m. the next following morning. By the way, it is out today. Right now. It's crazy. So, as I was saying, do follow us on the social medias. Also, we are on the SoundCloud, YouTube, iTunes, Spotify. And the most beautiful part of this all is it's absolutely free. Doesn't cost you $1, dime, penny, pence, cent, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah. I'm sorry I couldn't finish the outro in time. I thought we were going to, but it is what it is. Anyway, we'll see you next week on the Tomato Podcast. Goodbye.